Hunter, I do want to flip over to prep football for just a few minutes here because you're kind of spearheading, along with a few others, the Wisconsin Sports Media Poll, ESPN Wisconsin Media Poll. You guys did a large school and small school, essentially division. So 1 through 3, 4 through 7. Could you just tell us a little bit as we throw these different ones up on the screen, how did this come to be?
Yeah, so there used to be, the Associated Press would do a media poll. And that was for years how they were combining that then to some other people would do a coaches poll across the state with all 7 divisions. The Associated Press stopped doing their poll, so we saw this as an opportunity to still provide this service, do something to cover high school sports because, one, fans love high school sports. You guys know that as well as anybody in Beaver Dam. And we were like, this is a great opportunity to be able to expand what we're doing here in Madison. So we reached out to different media contacts from across the state. We have 20 voters who fill out a Google form every week and vote on their top 10 teams for our large schools, and then our small schools. Our enrollment cutoff, we put it, schools in the large school are 550 and up, and then the small schools, we go 549 and down. And it's been really interesting to see. I compile all the data in a spreadsheet and take a look at it and nerd out about these numbers, and it's super interesting. I'll start with the small school one. We've had back-to-back weeks with Lodi being in a tie at number 9, and they sit with Stanley Boyd there at number 9, both getting 22 votes, only 3 points behind Kiel at number 8. So we've been seeing this really tight race for that 7 to 10 window in the small school polls every single week. And in that small school, too, Columbus rising through the ranks. They're a favorite to get back to Camp Randall, I think. So super exciting for all of the fans in Columbus. I think they've got another really great team, even though their head coach left and went to Ripon.
I'm glad you brought up Columbus, too. They're 4-0. They've beat 2 of the teams on this list here, and they're defending state champions in Aquinas and Lodi. Is it safe to say that you and a lot of people believe that this is a team that's going to be going into the postseason undefeated?
I think so. Their big test is going to be that October 4th game against Lake Mills. That's really their last test. So then for them, the struggle is going to be, you've got October 11th, they've got Cedar Grove, Belgium, and then they're on the road at Turner to finish off the regular season. They've got to kind of stay locked in, because there's a good chance that if they get through that test of Lake Mills, they might see a running clock the last 2 weeks of the season by getting that 35-point lead in the third quarter. So then you've got backups going in. Your starters maybe haven't gone a full stretch of games for like 3 weeks going into the playoffs. And I've seen it before where teams do that. They don't get tested late in the season, and then all of a sudden that week, that level 1 or maybe that level 2 playoff game, they get shocked by a team who really had to grind it out to get to that 500 winning percentage to even qualify for the playoffs, and then the next thing they know, they're in a battle in level 2, or they get knocked out in level 2. So that's going to be the tough thing for this Columbus squad. I think they can do it. I really think that they're going to be playing in Camp Randall again this year, but they've just got to stay kind of locked in those last couple of weeks of the season and be ready for the playoffs.
Yeah, new coach. They're an exciting watch. It's funny you mentioned they crossed paths with Lake Mills. Wally and I actually encountered Lake Mills firsthand a couple of weeks ago. They took down a Marshall team that's won their conference the last couple of years. Marshall not looking as sharp this year. But Lake Mills, Wally and I could both agree, and I'm sure their coaching staff would too, kind of played one of their sloppier games this season, and they still beat a 3-time defending conference champ. So, yeah, it looks like that's going to be a decent challenge for Columbus, and then it's a matter of just staying sharp the rest of the year.
Yeah, and that's the hard thing for every team. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're talking about here in the Madison area. Verona's probably the best team in the Madison area. They're undefeated. Odds are they'll probably go undefeated as well. And it can be really hard. A lot of the coaches say if you don't get that test towards the end of the season, that last week or two, if you're a team that's looking to run the table or maybe just be a one-loss team, it can be really hard to keep high schoolers just locked in and active in that, okay, we're pursuing something else here. We need to be locked in. We need to be ready to go, because soon, if we slip up for a game, we're done. We're out. Our season's over. So that's the really interesting thing when you get into the playoffs and you see those upsets. A lot of times that's something the coaches will say happens in those upsets in the playoffs.
That is phenomenal insight. Hunter, we look forward to talking to you next week. It was great to see you at AmFam today. That'll probably be what we talk about our next segment. But thank you for the time, man.